The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGeek webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we've initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic for today's session is Developing Best Mobile App by Analyzing User Interactions with Mobile App. Our guest speaker today is Rahul Nischal. Rahul is Senior Product Manager at Nucleus Software Exports Limited. He is an entrepreneur and technologist with core expertise in mobile technology and product development. He has more than 13 years of technology product development experience and in the past worked with Nokia, NDS and Saskin. He had started up his own startup in healthcare B2B before joining back to corporate. His expertise is in the area of product development, mobile technology, mobile enterprise, technology leadership, agile-based development methodology, healthcare and banking domain and video technologies. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Rahul.
Thank you, Deepika. Thanks for the introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, this is Rahul here. So I'll try to take you through the journey of how can we make a better app or even the top app, the app which you dream or the idea which you have it in your brain. So let's look at what I'm going to speak. So the agenda is here not to get into how you can develop mobile app or even not getting into the how you can do the better analytics with all the mathematics skills. It's all about how can you use the behavior analysis or basically how can you understand your customer behavior and start the app development and take it to the top app and keep it there. So how you can reach there along with the tools or even the existing ecosystem. That's what it's all about. So let's start the journey. So yeah, there are millions of apps today in the app stores. Any app store, whether it's Apple, whether it's the Google's app store or it's Amazon or even the private app stores or even Samsung. So you have huge, and the new one to the bandwagon is Windows. So you have millions of apps there, and every day people keep adding thousands of apps to it, and millions of downloads happen. So each app has its own purpose, its own vision. So who wins the race? That's the question. So you have seen the apps who have made lots of names. Maybe it's Angry Birds, WhatsApp, or even the taxi apps which are working very fine, or even food spotting, which does only one task, very simple. Same thing with WhatsApp. And even the corporate giants are releasing the app which is very simple and intuitive. The Facebook Messenger is an example of that. Or the games which does only one kind of games. So that's how it's all. So who wins the race? There are people who are winning. One of them made a big mark. Yes, it's WhatsApp. Small team. It's very simple, and that's what user wants it. So how did they grow? Did they have their own ways of getting the knowledge? He never advertised, but one thing he knew was very well connecting with the users who mattered them a lot. So let's see how can we do it, or everybody can do that. So before we get to that, let's look at what an app development is basically. Yes, it's about the code which runs in the mobile and the IDE, the tools you use to develop it. But is that all the app? No. There is more important thing. You need to do market research, or you need to understand your user very well. That's what idea you are doing and how it's connecting to the user. That's very important. And does the people whom you intended are using? That's the key. So how about the UI, the look and feel? Mobile, it's no more web, no more Windows. You have little space, people are impatient. They want it to look good, look beautiful, look smart, look elegant. So that's crucial there. What about the user experience? What is an user experience? It's also about functionality. It's also about usability. It's also about look and feel or the pleasure. So user experience plays a key role making any app successful. What makes the WhatsApp different from all the thousands of messengers exist today? It's actually the user experience. What makes today's taxi app stand over others? It's user experience. You don't have to call somebody. You don't have to wait. It does one job. What does the food spotting does? It does only one job. Gets you the best food. It doesn't care. Restaurant, it takes up your location and gives you that. That's what it does very well. So let's see how can we do that, not just coding. I'm not going to talk here about coding. You guys are good, so I believe that you understand it. So let's get how can we do better with other things and how can make it to the top, even though the best technology might not succeed, but what makes you to succeed? That's the thing. Yes, it should be simple UI, simple in terms of using. Anybody who downloads the app should be able to reach the primary functional area within that. So the app is for finding the best food around you, and it's food spotting, which does that very well. So it doesn't do anything. You launch the app, that's what it shows you. So you launch the WhatsApp, it lists out your friends, picking up the number from your mobile, you can talk to them. What does the Facebook Messenger does? It does only one thing, chatting. So that's same. It's same for corporate apps. If you're using your mobile banking, log in, you can see the balance. You can log in with just MPIN. You don't have to enter username and password. It knows already who you are because mobile is your companion, your secretary. It's not just some gadget anymore. It should be fluid navigation. Where you want to go, you should be able to learn yourself. It should not be any big tech manual to read to how to use it. So it does what it's supposed to do, limited tasking. So stick to the primary task, not beyond that. The key, learn from usage, learn and listen to the user, connect with the user and improve. That's the key. So how can we do this? So it's always about, yes, keep it simple and stupid. So don't try to make it complicated or do anything. So in this, it's easier said than doing. Keep it simple and stupid. Making anything simple is the most complicated thing. So making a complicated thing probably will be simpler, but creating simplest thing to use is the difficult part. And how can we achieve this? It's not a magical, there's no magical wand. So you need to listen, understand, adopt, and evolve. So that's what is. Mobile is not about somebody sitting in a room and using it. It's not planning and using, is not writing somewhere sitting on holiday. It's about all. They use it when they are shopping. They use it at the work. They use it when they are traveling. They use it when they are on pleasure trips. So it's everywhere. You don't know when they are going to use, how they are going to use. Best way is observe and learn what it is. That's what is the behavior analysis actually you're going to do. Now let's look some of the things which we need to have stress more. So one of the key thing of mobile is how the user is going to interact with it. The way user interacts with a tablet is different. Probably he uses both hands or in a supporting way. The way user uses a mobile, the 5-inch thing, is a single hand. So it's very key. You need to know that how it does. It's going to have an impact. Okay? Enterprise app like mobile banking needs to be in portrait mode rather than landscape. So because people don't try to use it much of it a landscape mode. But if you're taking up an travel app, Clear Trip or Kayak, probably you might need there the landscape mode. If you're writing a games, yes, it's landscape. Angry Bird works only in landscape. But there are games which works on portrait, Temple Run. So it depends on the task. So what is the primary task? Stick to it. There's only one thing it should do very well. User doesn't have the patience to go around. If you're shopping, then it should help to shopping. That's what you will do. If you're searching for a food, let the app launch and do the food searching. If you're looking for a taxi, let the app do that. You're not doing anything else. So that's how the apps are designed. One task, and it should be accessible in one click, or maximum there are 2 tabs, not more than that. So you need to know exactly to achieve that when it is used, location. How does the user navigate in app? The frequency of use. So how frequently he comes back? This is key actually. So there are few modes which you need to know, which is very important, such as kind of device used, OS used. So if you take up one of the gaming application like Angry Bird, when they did analysis, they found out like Android users doesn't like to pay. And most of the downloads or usage on Android is either trial version or is it ad-based version. And when they look at the iOS, most people pay there and buy the app. They don't want ads. So you need to understand the behavioral pattern depending on the OS, depending on the location, depending on the age group, what purpose it's used. That's key. Otherwise, it's going to be a disaster. Same creating the experience specific to individual device is key. The difference might be slight, in this case ads and no ads, but it's very important. So the app should work when the user starts. It should never crash. You need to categorize and segment the user. So some user might search for, like, if the user is frequently searching on a tablet, probably he searches and browsers, looks at image more. If he is using a phone, he would like to read little information because the real estate of the display is smaller. So it depends on what segmentation and what age user is, what is he looking out. So this is how the categories happen. So let's move on. What's your app is about to the next thing. What I have said so far is about different characteristics of behavior which can be observed on mobile. Now let us go and see what is a mobile app. We started with app development process. Now let us see what it is. Yes, it's all about the tools you use, right? It's all about the technology. It's all about the coding you do. It's all about that. It's all about the device. With that's not why you wrote an app, because there are already apps. The reason this app which you have been doing is coming up to solve somebody's problem or help somebody's life make better. That's your idea. And you know where it works better than anybody because you're the one who conceived it. You're the one who are following it. You're the one who are engaging it. So it's not just about technology. It's about why it is used, why it was born, where it wants to go. So it's an idea that needs to be remembered. You cannot forget that it's an idea. So let's take it to the case of execution quickly and see how it happens. So probably I'll take you through 1 or 2 examples, specific industry cases. So what do? Once you have written the app, you want to launch it? Yes. It's fantastic. It's launched, it's working, few people download it. Not just your friends, maybe other people also. But ensure not just friends, other people also download it and engage with them. That's key area here. So let's see what happens, how the cycle of app development or basically app itself works. So you're going to develop the app and then you want to release it. Then you can collect the data, analyze it, update the app or develop the new app, just a modification and release it. This is what continues. You need to test, you need to develop, and basically you need to release. So there is no ending here. The earlier you release, better. If it's a week release, that's what people expect. So if it is 3 days release, fine. The idea is let it go out and see the reality. What are people are using? Why are you using? What is the purpose? And let it do the job what it was supposed to do. And wherever you need a correction, what is it not working, correct it quickly. There's no time for that. So if you look into it, the area is like we thought about just now behavior, then probably how the app life cycle happens. It's going to continuous change every time. That's what every app does. You might have seen you're getting updates. So how do they do it basically? They collect data. yes, it's all about data, 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 but what is that we collect? If we are collecting too much of data, it's also a concern. If we are collecting less data, that's also a problem. If we are collecting wrong data, then it's the biggest problem. So data is all about having a right set at the right time. That's what. So let's see the 4 key points of the data. And data collection on the mobile, different, and it's very difficult. Reason being, data collection here depends on the network connectivity, which itself is an erratic. You don't know when you have 1 kbps, you don't know when you don't lose connection, when you have 3 mbps connection. And so many devices, so many kind of operators, it's all different. So there is nothing like guaranteed that the connection is going to work. So that needs to be very well taken care. So you need to have offline and data synchronization rather than data dump, which used to happen with the A/B testing, which happens predominantly on the web. So let us go to the other point. How frequently do you collect? So it depends on, again, what app you are doing. So that's also important. And then when to collect. So let's deep dive on each one of this now. So yes, what data to collect, how to collect, and that's the question we always have, right? So the answer to this is pretty simple. Nobody else knows the answer except you guys, because you're the one who know the idea. It's not just about technology or what you have written in terms of code. It's all about your idea. So where does your idea fit? Is it for about e-commerce? Is it about a reader? Is it about corporate or enterprise application? Is it a travel app? Is it a game? Is it a social or is it a dating site? So this plays a crucial role. So basically, we need to know where we are going. Who are our users? Whose life we are trying to make better? That's crux here. Let's look at one of the example, which is actually the pretty much happening thing in India today, and the more growing segment, the B2C segment, which is e-commerce. So what is that happens in e-commerce? What is that you look out for it? Yes, people do look out for the things. Basically, they search what is there on the shelf when you're there, you're shopping. And the same thing happens online. You're going to look what is there on the shelf, but here you want to use the search to do it. You have to, again, stack it up or basically categorize properly. See that the search is efficient, fast, intelligent, and gives what user wants, not what we want to give it. So it can be individualized, it can be personalized, it can be based on the personas, it can be based on the profile, different profile, age group, location, many things. At the same time, the location from where he is searching is important for the e-commerce because you have to deliver it. Which area he is searching, that's important. We cannot sell something which is stored in Bangalore to the guy in, it's not possible to deliver in. So let us see from where is he searching. So we don't, if it's out of stock, we don't have to show him in the top. So there's no point in. So this is what happens. If there is a local festival in Delhi, then you have to sell something which is required for the local festival in Delhi, not something required somewhere in Mumbai. So this location plays a crucial, especially for the logistics. At the same time, navigation. How does the user navigate? How does we categorize the items? That's the crux of it. If we place something in wrong, he searches in a wrong category, then it's not worth. There will be many times you have to cross-link, but it should be careful that it doesn't appear everywhere. So these are the important for all the e-commerce. This is what most of the top e-commerce companies today do. They search the crux of everything. So let's look at another upcoming thing, which is predominantly works in terms of returns of money in the Western world and catching up even in India now. The games. What's all about games? Games is all about fun. and also it's all about how does the user connect or engages with the device. It's not about just somebody using some gadgets on hand and doing. The old traditional computer or gaming consoles, you had a huge options, but here it's a different thing. The touch works here, it can work on gyroscope, it can work on sensor proximity, it can work on camera. There are games developed with this. The best game or the top leading game is one thing, touch, and you can play with a very simple thing, that's single finger. That's what is Angry Bird. That's what it made. And if you look at Angry Bird, it's the first thing which they have released. No, they have failed many times. They have released hundreds of that, and finally they released Angry Bird. They learned what user want and they gave it back. So the characters, basically, who are the roles there? Whether it is the role you're playing as a king, as an fighter, as which kind of car it is, what is it? It matters if it is in a car racing. So similarly, weapons are used in terms of the game. Some games that matters. So there are players who want every player well start. So as we told, like there should not be any learning curve. So start. So there is games are always leveled, or basically the flow of the game is such that you learn, and without a pain you learn and go to the next level. So how do you do this? So you need the statistics. When you launch, how many people failed in level 1? How many people are playing it? How many people are using what characters? Are the people comfortable using the interface? So these are the data you want to collect in a game. If you compare it with what we discussed in e-commerce, it's different. So that's what it is. It's not same. It's always related to your idea. Let's look at the third sector, which is the enterprise applications. What happens here is totally different from everything else. It's always about usability, feature, integration, and reliability. These are the things which are different from the other things. Usability, it should be taking less time because we know when he is doing what most of the time in corporate application. It is a people where we know more information before starting, and most people will be following the structured approach here compared to earlier to where the user is different. Same with integration. Here, the corporates have already invested in infrastructure, huge amount. You cannot tell them remove it, or they follow your process. You cannot change the process. You need to ensure your flow and the integration with the existing system works. So take an example of banking application. So if your loan account details are available on the web, it should be available on your mobile. If you update something with your address, it should be immediately reflected in mobile. So that's how, but how you use on mobile is different. So the navigation, the content display will be different, but integration should be very tight. Reliability, so all about it's always stable. It works, secured, that is crucial here. Security cannot be compromised, not leak the information, whether it is in terms of end user application where customer servicing is done via application, or it's a corporate application such as like salesman using to update the data discussion from client. It should be secured and also reliable. You cannot get the server down. So it's always about what problem is solved, or best way, what idea you are, what is the enhancement to the life you're providing, what value addition you're doing to people. So that's crux. There's another part, important part, which is actually what stage of you are there. So the app starts as we look back the cycle. Basically, the app will be developed, you will be incubating. We just launched a new idea. So few people look at it, friends, family, or even people share across, or we reach out to some people, whoever develops reach out and trials it out and see. So it depends each at phase what data you need is always different and unique. So let us see how it happens. The 3 different stages of the app life cycle. When the app is born, it's budding. So what you need is basically engagement so that people start looking at your app. Engagement is not about just saying that my app is there or it's not an ad. It's about if somebody starts using the app saying that I love that you're using my app, or replying to this question, engage via social media. That's the crux today. So it spreads the news, it gets the things very fast done, and you get the feedback also there. So then retention, you need to retain your users. So reach out to right user and retain the right people whom you are targeting. So this is the target audience and try to retain them. So it's better if you compare a simple case. If there is 100 downloads and finally there are only 5 active users, that's something we need to look. But instead of that, there are only 25 downloads and 20 users are still active. That is what is important. It's not just downloads, it's also the people you engage and retain them. We need to retain them. And always give reason people to get back to the app and use it. It can be in games, adding new levels, simpler weapons. There are ways we want to do it. What about next? The app is launched, it's gone, and things are running fine. We have user base. We need to look at getting revenue also. So we need to start earning the revenue, whether it's via ads, whether it's via in-app payments, whether it's via sale to the enterprise. So we need to start making revenue. Can't expect revenue in the budding, but start monetizing once you have a very good user base and usage. Next thing is like the growth rate. You need to target high growth rate. Now we have a product, we have an app which is working very well. So let us try to get more user and see, are they happy? And this is the reference. So look at where the users are coming from. What is the channel? How it's growing. So that's key to increase the revenue and the high growth rate, and convert the user who are like free on trial to the paid user. And also take the user to the next level of experience where there can be a premium or you're giving more functionality. What happens once we have enough revenue started at the breath is gone? So what are we going to do? What are we going to look at from the data point, or how are we going to manage? It's more of your conversion from one stage to another stage. We are giving a new feature so that we keep them active. We are going to innovate so that they are coming back to us for the new things. Case of the games, like you have seen the Angry Birds, it's releasing the new versions, whether it's tie-up with the third-party partners releasing their merchandise, or even having additional characters from Mickey. So that's how it goes. So every app can be grown. So we need to look at how it grows. In case of taxi segment, we have apps coming up initially just to book the taxi. Now you can split the fare. That's how it's going. So you need to take it to the next level so that you can retain. And key to the retain the user is always innovation. You need to innovate, you need to do it very fast. Otherwise, people will copy. It's mobile application. The competition will cope up. So how do you differentiate from them? That makes a differentiating factor here. Look at the WhatsApp. It started with a messenger. It added its imaging capabilities. It started adding video. But it kept its UI very simple. So all this without losing a customer, without making him feel it's something deviating from its core values. So that's what we have to do. So what state the app is there, depending on that, what data you collect varies. So data collection is, we need to look at what is our idea, who are your users, and also what stage we are there. Let's move now. We have sufficient data. The data is collected. What are we going to do with this data? You have a huge data set. Let me study the mathematics, or let me write the algorithms for this, or let me use the big data or Hadoop or something else to do the data crunching. It's not required. Analysis of data, people have been doing this from years on a different data. Now we have a different set of data, which is behavior on the mobile, and basically tuning. The leverage we get on mobile is like it's individualistic, and each user's detail is recorded. So we have more accurate data. Let's look at one of the cases, like how does the Angry Bird started changing its app different for Android and also the iOS. When they looked at the revenue model, paid users are from iOS, and Android, predominantly the users were either using free trial or they were using ad-based Angry Bird application. So what they did is they started channelizing that revenue that way, ad-based for the Android and paid on the mobile. So this is how it's case by cases. So you need to analyze data and adopt to that. There is a case wherein like Overstock is basically an e-retailer who sells discounted merchandise such as furniture, household items. So when they started looking at the first time started using analytics, they looked what's happening. They saw that iPhone users, orange screen, they basically read the data and they are up to the task. They just read the data, get to it and purchase it. But the people who browse it on iPad, they look at in detail, they browse more, look at the images, they look at more details. So what they did is they released different apps, which resulted in 25% increase of their revenue. So this is what data can do if you do rightly analysis. But at the same time, do I need to do the mathematical question? It's not required. We don't have to be a mathematician to do all these things. There are tools available which can do it actually. So let's go to the tools. Prior to that, what analysis we are going to do or what behavior we are going to analyze. I've classified it into 5. One is basically acquisition. How did user know from where is he coming? How does the user came? Activity or engagement. When the user installs and launch, does he happy? Does it make him happy? And does it make him to come back? Does it feels what he wants? Is he really active after certain time of using, or he just one-time visitor? So we need to ensure that we retain the users. So that's the data we need to analyze, like how the retention is working, how much he is using, how the initial experiences, and where the customers are coming, and can he refer somebody to us? So because he likes this app, he feels it's going to be helpful for others also. And of course, we need to ensure there is revenue flow also. We started monetizing it. So that's where we need to look at. These are the 5 behavioral predominantly and analyze using the tools. So I've told you the behaviors, what are the things, taken examples and explained you. Now let me take you to the tools which can do this. There are numerous tools. I'm going to take 2 examples of the tools which can do this. All the 5 characteristics can be done by this tool. So Countly, it's an open source tool and it's free to use. You don't have to pay. You are a startup, you don't have to invest. You can experiment. The SDK is free, so you can take, integrate it and start using it and it will work. There is a commercial version. If we are a corporate, we don't want to spend time, of course they are ready to support you from their end. So it has a live data analysis. As it can show you how many users are active. You can use this to upgrade your servers backend. You can see what is the exact load. You can look at like what is the total session active, total number of users, what is the new user coming up in last week, this week, time spent, what particular features has been used, how the users are navigating, is the feature which are placed after 3 taps, is that user is using, we can move it up. So that's how it is. And Countly is under AGPL, so you can modify the SDK, you can do anything with it. So you can look back at the history, even it supports advanced analytics. such as coherent graph, which can help you not just to analyze the user behavior, pattern change. It can also help you to analyze unexpected spike immediately. So there are cases like we are getting a user every month. The increase in user base is 10%, but we saw that the activity, or basically they are using our app for more than the usage rate is jumped suddenly 50%. How do you understand this? This can be done with chord graphs, which basically looks in not just the increase in the user base which it's observing, it also tells why it's happening. It might be because of the ads, might be due to festival, might be due to holiday, whatever reason. So it's a nice tool. There are competitors to it. Let's look at another tool which is not open source but free. So Flurry is currently part of the Yahoo. So it is a free SaaS tool. You can use it. It's very lightweight to use. Lots and lots of people are using it. It's one of the leading in terms of mobile analytics or mobile behavioral analytics. It's widely used. So you can also do live data analysis, GUI interface, everything here. There is no limitation on the features to use. Only thing you compare it with the Countly you lose is basically your data is used by Flurry also, the analysis. So your data is stored in a server which is not owned by you. So the data is always not, and also somebody can use for their purpose also. Countly you can host, it's under your control. That's the difference there actually. There are numerous tools, but the tools will give you an insight or easy view of the data. It is the person who ideates. It's the team which is owning the app has to decide what behavior it has to observe. Is it like browsing behavior? Is it like how long they use the app and play the game? Is it what level he plays? That's how. If it's a banking application, what are the features? Like consider a banking application where end user uses like loan details viewing. So here you need to see like what are the features the end user uses and how frequently he logs in, so that we can upgrade our servers, we can provide that service easily accessible, and see does he need any more services which can make his life better similar to the one he is using. That's something interesting to the banks because it can reduce their call center burden and improve their productivity, especially on the efficiency side in terms of bringing down the cost. So based on the application, we need to look at what exactly we needed. So there is nothing called right tool or wrong tool. For someone, Countly might fit better. For someone, it's Flurry. There are other tools. Broadly, you can categorize into open source. The other one is other license. Let me not get into explaining the license. So most of the tools which is doing the mobile analytics today are free, but the licenses are different. So in open source, you have a full control. You don't share your data. In other license, most of the time you share the data, and they also have a right to use it. So Countly, we discussed in detail. Adavan is predominantly leading in Europe, especially from the German. It is OpenTracker has a presence in US. PWiki has a presence in US, other developing economies. Apex, Avesam, Analytics, same, they are also have a good presence. MaxPanel is also one of the leading in the US. So what about the other things apart from open source? There are numerous open source. This is what some of the important things which are making impact. But if you want to deep dive into the other commercial also, there are Google Analytics, wherein it's free from the SaaS. You can use all the features there. You get everything, real-time analysis. You can generate the graphs you want based on user, based on features, based on navigation. Same with Flurry, Adobe Analytics. This is free SaaS. It's not open source. And local analytics is also bought by Google today, and it's part of Google Analytics. MaxPanel has two variants. One is enterprise, which is paid, and the other one is open source purely. So this is about tools. So you need to pick a right tool, right behavior, right data set, succeed. You need to analyze that, improve it. That's what most of the people who succeed on the mobile app does. They analyze, they improve. There is nothing as a bullshit. You don't have any important point which can make you succeed, but rather the one thing which made all these apps succeed is basically you adopt, you learn, adopt, and succeed. That's how it works. So with this, I'm closing on the behavior analytics, but I'm getting into the last part of it, open source. What open source benefits? So there is, when you are using a free source, you're building your app with a binary of some third party. You don't know what is in the binary. You don't know the security. It can impact your performance also. You don't know what it's doing. You don't know what data additionally apart from you told to collect, it's collecting. But in open source, you build the binary, you control backend server also, so you have a full control, and you can improve stability and performance if your analytics is having an impact there. Privacy, yes, your data is in your server, so you can improve the security because you know what you are doing, patch up easily. You cannot customize the SDK or evolve on it if you have a long-term goal of working and improving and playing a key role in the analytics. Yes, you need to pay for the non-open source. Open source, you don't have to pay. And most of this open source are well supported also, and they have a very quick release cycles. So this is open to you now for the question and answer.
Thank you, Rahul. Thanks for the insightful presentation. Let's quickly take up the questions now. I would request you to read them out and their answers so that all our users may listen to your commendable insights.
Okay. Thanks, Swapna, for the question. So the question is, what's the exact meaning of aging of app? It can be aging or staging. The app basically is an idea, as initially we discussed. It starts with the idea, then you develop, and then you release it. Actually, early release, it's birth. Then what happens? You get feedback, you try to grow, you reach certain stage where the market, you believe you are getting the traction, but you're not getting money, or you start to monetize. Then where it goes? At the end, it is the #1 app, the best app, it is in its avenue, it's doing its purpose very well. So there is a timeline, so that's what I mean aging. And one or the other day, if you ask me, this has to die. So everything which comes up will go away. The one app which is famous today probably will not be in certain time if we don't reinvent the wheel and go ahead. So that's what the answer. Hope it answers you. Yeah, Anup Singh, a very interesting question. What's the revenue of WhatsApp? Most people, you know that WhatsApp is free for first year. Second year, it's $1. So multiply $1 with 1 billion people, it's 5 billion. What else do you want? And WhatsApp, employee basis, developers is 50, support staff is 10. There is no sales, no marketing budget, no sales budget. So no expense apart from the 60 people. Total entire servers is, they are running on a Linux CentOS, and then they have moved it over to also. But total server stacks, they have probably 250 when I last heard. So this is low cost compared to the $5 billion. So what else? That's revenue. So if you even spend 100 million on your employees, for the 60 employees, then you're left with $4.9 billion. Platform for building the apps. I have an answer for this. I wanted somebody to do this, interesting. I'll take you one more slide. I'll just show you one more slide. I kept this because I wanted you to question somebody too. Hope you can see the screen. You see the app. What can you see? There are logos of Apple and also iPod. And there is no Apple apps here. The reason predominantly I've put is basically I've targeted this specific to Indian customer, and basically the listeners are Indians here, so I've targeted on Android. So in India, Android works, but if you go to Western, it's Apple and iOS, and it makes money. Trust me, it owns the revenue. Android still globally is the leading OS, makes 30% of revenue in App Store, rest is owned by Apple. So the presence is less. The average revenue for Apple apps is way beyond in terms of it's 15, 20, 25 times more than what Android apps can make. So you need to decide where you are going. If you're making a games, India is not the place, probably it's a Western you need to target. So you can go with iOS. So depends on that. If you're making corporate app for India, then let us stick to Android. That's how you decide. You can even do a hybrid apps. If you are doing e-commerce, hybrid app is the right answer. So, Jaspreet, there is an interesting question. What are the other avenues of revenue apart from advertisement and app selling? The famous example or notorious example today is for that is Uber or even Ola cabs. How they make money? They are making money. You know how much they are making. You know the valuation of Ola at least. Already $1 million company. Uber, highest growth rate in the history, $40 billion. It has beaten WhatsApp also. So revenues is always comes from your idea, doesn't come from app. Let us look at it. If you have enterprise app, your enterprise people will pay for you. Like banking apps, loan distribution, the banks will pay. Lightweight APK. Rather than looking onto the lightweight APK, I look at lightweight usability. I don't want to get in development because it doesn't matter whether your app is 50 MB, 20 MB. It matters only when it is crossing 25 MB probably in a context like India. So little story here. If you are aware of Facebook app, 3 years back, it was almost 35, 40 MB. Today it is 10 MB. The reason because, very simple, one of the Facebook key executive traveled to South Africa where he lost his phone. He bought a new phone, he tried to download. He was not able to download in 2 days because network connectivity bad. What he did is when he went back to US, he ensured that all the unnecessary things are taken off and made the app light. So it depends on whom you are targeting. If it's a US, Japan, Korea, you don't have to worry about size. You have to worry about predominantly concentrate on usability rather than size. If it's India, Africa, C, then worry about the size. So there is no right size. It depends on location and what you are trying to do. So Swapnil Jadhav, how can we decide the accuracy of data collected through any of these tools? It's accurate because the data is collected from individual phones, and if you are using open source tools, you know very well what data you are collecting. If you're using free source, then it's different, but in open source you can do it, and it's accurate. And if you see looking at people faking it, then many times even app stores are into that business of detecting it. App stores spend a huge amount to ensure that detection of fake downloads, all those, to avoid that, to keep the app store running up so that nobody fake buys. So you can also ensure this kind of security, but well good security mechanism which is beyond the scope of this, but there is a way you can ensure. That is what, if you ask me, Indian e-commerce people does. Amazon, Flipkart, everybody does. They are spending a huge money on fake purchases, repurchases, reselling to avoid reselling. So there is a way to do it. Malika, I have a question. How to update application once it's installed? 2 ways. One, use the App Store updates. Other one, if you are hosting it within a corporate environment, your App Store should push it without even asking user if it's a corporate as a user. So you have to force some time. You have to have thankful. Ankitendra Vikram Singh. How can we harm from games which are free to download and used offline? You can put offline ads. There are ways to earn, but if you want to give something to free to the world, decided to give something free to the world, give it free. But there are ways you can make money from offline app also. Let them start using it. It is same way. The examples I can tell you is like Reliance in 2006, the 4 gave the ad sets free. Everybody question, how are you going to make money? That is the way they penetrated market. The free, nothing comes free. When people give free, it means you are getting the user base. That is what you're getting in return. So you are paid. People are using. They are marketing you. They might refer you to customers who can pay you later on. So you're investing in future. They are advertising for you. That's a return. So that's how you look at it. Jasprit Naurla, what is the cost involved in launch of app? It depends on where you're launching. Apple, you know the cost is $500. In the Google, it's $25. So you need to predominantly concentrate on these 5 parameters which we had discussed. First thing is, yes, get the user. You need to acquire users. How are they coming? Make the presence there and increase the user. Then actively keep them, let them use the app once they download and make them happy first time they use. So you collect the data for that. Are the user happy? You can, the user is, first time he downloads, he uses, he continues to use, plays the first level of game in game, then obviously he is an happy customer. He starts the app, he doesn't even complete the first level, then he's unhappy. Maybe the level is difficult, make it simple. So maybe the weapons or the characters are bad, so you need to collect depending on what stage you are there. So that's how, and reference works in mobile world. That's how WhatsApp grew so fast, and even Uber, Ola, other things. Revenue, you need to decide what way. The key difference, Alimpan has asked, the key differences between mobile analytics and web analytics. Web, first thing, technology. Collecting the web analytics, you need to put a code, and that happens in the backend. Here, you need to put a binary. Also, you need to embed it in the application. You cannot put it in a browser or something. Second thing, as I said, the behavior of the connectivity is erratic. You cannot use a data dump here. You need to use synchronization. Third thing, it's unique here. You are almost sure it's a unique user. And here, the usability plays primary role. And purpose are like keeping it simple. So always stick to one primary task rather than doing 10. Rishi Upadhyay, how secure is the mobile banking apps? How secure you want to make it is secure? It's as secure as your internet banking. That answers hope. Anup Singh, what can be a different area of advertisement of a startup app having limited money? Reach out, engage. Social media will be the key. And also engage beyond your friends and family. That is key users, not your friends and family. Deepesh Mehta, what is about the Windows Phone development app? It's growing. It's good. The market rate is not as fast as Apple or even iOS, but it's growing, especially in the enterprise area. There will be definitely a good growth for Windows. Looking at the recent announcement 2 days back made, Windows 10 free for Windows 7 users and 8 can assume the impact. So Windows is going to come back. Probably it's going to be, it's already third leading OS, so it's going to continue. So if you have an eye, especially in the Western market and especially in Europe where the penetration is going faster, build it there. But not for India, obviously. Vikram, how to decide the usability when the first app is built? Wonderful question. Thank you, Vikram. So very simple. What are you trying to do? If your idea is to design a shopping cart, then it is browsing experience. If your idea is the game, It's the learning curve, characters, how simple to play, and how interesting, how different it is. So in terms of usability, you should not think of making him complicated. You should think like users should be able to easily use. Best example for this temple run, where you can use the gyroscopes to lean left, right, all those things actually jump. So there are ways you can do it actually. So you need to look at the purpose and see what best already exists, and best thing next to this is actually beta testers. Swapna, what are the best ways to market any app? It depends on what phase you are. If you are starting, then it is engagement. And also the purpose of app. If it's a social app or it's a betting app, then probably it's reference. You need to target so that people can get others there, and easy to use. So what's the difference between WhatsApp and all the traditional old messenger? Of course, it was doing only one thing, messaging, and bigger than that, people didn't observe was like it was taking the contacts from your phone, and it didn't care about your email ID. It was talking about phone numbers. So that is the dramatic shift. That is what you have to think if you are. It depends on the app I said. So that's how it's actually. So you need to market it with your uniqueness, and next is engagement at the initial stage. Next stage basically retention and social media, which can help you. Ashi Vishwanath, how to assure an app user that the app he downloaded is secure? There is an answer with this. I can answer this with the Uber example, but before that, if a person is saying that I will not use smartphone and not convince him, I am not wasting my time on it. Rather, I'll sell it to the person who believes in it. So the other person, when he sees the other person is using, he will move to this. The case of Uber I took is because in Uber there is no cash payment, if you guys have seen, but Ola and all others do. In fact, in Ola TFS there was phone calls also. The difference between Uber and Ola is Uber works on data analytics in the back, and they have their own map data and works very fast. And payment happens via your credit card. They don't talk to you. They know they deduct right amount. They never fail in doing that. Very rare rate of fail. Their failure rate is less, very less than 0.45%. But that's not the case with others. You can pay cash, you can pay credit card, you can book, you select a cab. It's too confusing selecting 10 kinds of cab. But so that's how. They concentrate on the people who are ready to pay, who believe in them. So that is the approach you should take certain times. You cannot convince everybody. Rakesh, you have a wonderful question. What should be the standard color theme of Android app? If it is for a teenage girl, then you would have to know which color to pick. It's going to be pink, actually. If it is for the corporate, it's going to be a bluish. Color is again depends on idea. So remember to look at your idea. Whom are you telling this? Whom are you helping their life make better? So, yeah, I believe I'm done with the question and answer. I thank you all for your beautiful questions and the active interaction. I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Thanks, Deepika, and hand over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rahul. I'm really thankful to you for conducting this wonderful webinar. It was indeed a great session. And I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of this webinar will be available on techgeek.com very soon. Thank you, everyone.